welcome to What's in the News for Leaders, the podcast that helps you make sense of what's happening in the world and what it means for your leadership. I'm your host, Indor Hinton, CEO of Will North Growth Partners. And in this episode, we're exploring one of the most powerful concepts shaping how people lead, contribute, and rise, impact players. And this title actually is coming from a book by Liz Wiseman, which if you haven't read this book, it's such an awesome book. And our guest today is the person who actually recommended this book. So if you've ever wondered what sets certain people apart, those who don't just do their job, but elevate everyone around them, you're in the right place today. And before I introduce our guest today, I just want to say I'm super excited because John is an old friend of mine. And also this is special because this is a season finale and also our 50th recording. So John, this is going to be great to have this conversation today. I would like to introduce you all to a friend and a client, John Jensen, who is a sales leader at Trane Technologies and just an overall passionate advocate for leadership growth. We're diving into the insights from impact players Liz Wiseman, what they mean, how they show up in real life, and how each of us can step into that mindset. So let's get into it. John, thank you so much for joining today. Can you just share just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to be here. Sure, I've been with Trane for 14 years now. Enjoyed my leadership journey prior to Trane and all the way here. It's been probably the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years that I've really kind of gotten passionate about my own personal development, which is kind of translated into helping others grow and have that development as well and have that passion for learning and developing themselves.
Yes. Well, I know. So you and I have the book here, and I love this book so much. And another one of your colleagues actually recommended this book a long time ago. So I'm like, I got to read this book. And I did read it. It was so great. Talk to me, John, about how did you first come across the book and what made it resonate with you?
So I was recently part of a team we call it a SEAL team here in Trane, and it's a group of sales leaders, account managers that work on different projects throughout the company. And Dan Smith, I believe, is the one that also had recommended the book to
Yes,
you, right?
he
And
is.
so, so one of the first assignments we had on this SEAL team was to read this book, right? And so that was one of the things that we did as kind of a book study. We read it all together. We shared about it on calls, and which is something I like to do with my teams as well. I've not yet had my team read it, but it's on my list of things to do to have my team read it as well.
Yes. Well, it's a great book to read. And I'll tell you right now, I'm working with a client for an emerging leader program, and they have three different groups. And one of those groups is a program for individual contributors who are potentials for leadership roles. And we are using this book as a part of their program because I think it's great for leaders, but it's also great for individual contributors to see how to become an impact player. So this whole concept around impact player, what do you think makes this concept so relevant for today's leaders and just within their workplace?
Well, I think it's a lot about setting yourselves apart, right? And I think that's where a lot of the personal development comes. So a lot of people come to work every day and they contribute, right? And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a difference between just being a contributor and being
Hmm.
someone that makes a high impact on a on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's as a leader or as a leader without a title, right? So many times we think that leaders have to be somebody that has this formal title, but if you're either looking to be a leader or you're just simply wanting to be a team member that's truly making an impact and being a leader on your team, I think it's important to differentiate between just being a contributor and being somebody that's high impact.
Oh, I love that because a lot of times, especially these days, I hear a lot of people say, I don't want to be a leader.
Right.
And so I love that's why I love this book so much because um just exactly what you said, it's about whether you want to be a leader of people or not, you can still have an opportunity to be a leader in your role. And how do you make stronger impact in recognizing that and differentiating yourself between being a contributor and that actual impact player? Um,
Right.
What do you think? How can leaders identify and cultivate impact players on their teams?
Well, it's interesting you said that about people saying, I don't want to be a leader, right? I found that a lot of people that say that are leaders within the team already, right? They just don't want that formal title, whether it's they don't want the
Right.
responsibility or whatever it is, right? Had a guy I worked with years ago, and he says, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a leader. And unfortunately, this gentleman was leading in the wrong way. And if you subscribe to the theory that leadership is influence,
Mm,
well, then everybody's a leader, right? Because everybody has some sort of influence. And like I told this gentleman, I was like, well, leadership is influence. And unfortunately, you're influencing the wrong way.
yeah.
So you're being a leader, you're just leading the wrong way, right? So
Wow.
we often think that the leader is the guy that's always doing the right thing, but sometimes you have leaders on your team that are leading the wrong way, but they're still being a leader because they're still influencing, right? So
Wow.
I think for me, and I'm just thinking about my current team right now, right? And I'm kind of, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking through those that are truly are the kind of the leaders and the ones who are maybe just kind of standing back and just contributing, right? Um, you know, identifying first of all those ones that are willing to make the investment and develop themselves. Because if someone's not willing to do that, then they're likely not willing to make that investment in other people, right?
Mm,
So as I give opportunities for people to develop themselves, the ones that kind of grab onto it and gravitate towards that are the ones that I tend to identify as the ones that are going to be impact players
yeah.
because they're looking to develop themselves so that they can make that impact, right?
Yes.
Um, and then giving those people the opportunity to be a leader, to influence, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's finding formal opportunities for them, or just just something as simple as if I'm not going to be able to be on a team call and I need someone to lead the call.
Yeah.
Having those people have those kind of opportunities to practice those type of leadership tasks.
Do you find, John, that people tend to embrace that when you bring them into that to tell them, maybe you're not telling them they're going to be an impact player, but you're wanting them to kind of be more of a leader. Do they embrace that immediately?
It is amazing, and what's really exciting is when you start investing in somebody in that way and they embrace it, and then other people see that as well, and
Yeah.
they see that person embracing it. That's when it gets really exciting, right? Because then you know that they're trying to do the right things and other people are noticing that. It
Yeah.
kind of comes full circle, so very exciting.
Well, and it's got to be a great feeling for that individual too, to be seen as someone who you have said and identified that they can be a leader, they can be in a different role as in the position that they're in, and then they embrace it, like the feeling that really helps with confidence too.
100%. Yep. The I feel blessed that I have several people on my team that at any given time I could assign as a mentor to somebody else. And so yes, it helps the person being mentored, and it helps the person doing the mentoring, from a confidence standpoint in both perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Because now this person that's being mentored is saying that, hey, one day I could do that same thing, right?
Yeah.
If I continue to grow and make an impact, I can be mentoring somebody else in the future as well.
Yes. So, John, do you think that there's anything that gets in the way of someone becoming an impact player? Could it be their own mindset? Could it be their environment? What gets in the way, do you think, of really
I
becoming an
would
impact player?
say, and I don't know, I know we had chatted about this a little bit. And the one concept in the book that probably jumped out to me more than any was that concept of the naive yes, right? Where if somebody gives you an opportunity, that you just take it, right?
Mm,
And you use the word mindset, and I know in my own examples, there's times that people have said, hey John, can you do da 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 da, and I'm like, I want to say yes, but all of a sudden I come up with a million reasons why I can't, or why I wouldn't be good, or why somebody else would be better. And
yeah,
so I end up saying no, right? So I think that concept of just saying, take that naive yes, and just saying yes and figuring it out later, is something that could truly help people, as they navigate their career and their opportunities to be an impact player.
Yeah. So they have to say now and then wait and see what happens.
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah, you just got to figure it out. Right. Once you
Yeah.
say yes, you don't have any choice. You got to figure it out.
You
So
have to figure it out. So this is an interesting thought in question. What's the difference, or do you think there is any difference between a high performer? Because in sales, we talk a lot about high performers. Do you think that there's a difference between a high performer and an impact player? Are they the same? Are they different?
I would say they're different. Right. I
Okay.
would say you can have a high performer um, who performs. Right. They hit their numbers. They do, whatever they got to do to hit those numbers. Right. And sometimes doing whatever they have to do to hit those numbers, again, it kind of goes back to the may or may not be the right thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And may be in it for them. I view someone as an impact player. I view that as someone who's not only investing in their own success, but is also investing in the success of others.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's where the real differentiation is, because someone can come and do their job day in, day out, and they can learn all kinds of stuff and they can keep that all to themselves. Right.
Yeah.
Well, impact is multiplied. Right. So that person that's holding on to that, all that knowledge, all that information, they're not doing anything to multiply that impact. It's the person that takes that information. I've got folks on my team as we're talking, right, that I just know as soon as they find something, as soon as they learn something, they're sharing it with the rest of the team. Right. And
Yeah.
that multiplies. It's not addition, it's multiplication, right? And that's the impact that you're looking for.
Yes, I love that. Not focused on just yourself, but also focusing on impacting others. I love those words.
Because
Um,
there are also along those lines, right? There are some that may not be as high of an individual performer, but
mhm.
because of the impact they make on the rest of the team and because they make the rest of the team better,
Yeah,
it's worth it.
it is totally worth it. John, what's advice that you would give a leader who wants to build a team of impact players, but they just don't know where to start?
I guess I would say first of all I would start with yourself, right?
Ah, I love
Um,
that.
you know, John Maxwell tells a story in one of his books about he would go to all these seminars and he would ask people, what's the one thing you would change about your business or your organization? And, you would get all the, price, process, the marketing, the product. He said, very, very rarely would anybody say me.
Mm,
I would change me to
yeah,
make my organization better.
I
Right.
love that. Yeah, it's so
So,
true.
so as a leader, I would say that's the first place to start, right? Is to find out, okay, how do I continue to evolve and make myself better? Right. And then I think that's what attracts other impact players is
Yeah.
people see you developing and growing yourself and people want that. Right. And so they're looking for that and they want somebody like that to invest in them. And I think that's what I think that's how you start cultivating that impact player team. And you
I
can't invest in other people if you haven't invested in yourself,
Yes,
right?
I love that so much because of what you just said. That, I always say that we as leaders are models. And when people look at us, they want to model whether we want them to or not, they model our behavior, good or bad. And so if we can start with ourselves as an impact player, that makes all the difference.
Good.
So that's a wrap on this episode, not just this episode, but our 50th episode for What's in the News for Leaders and also of our season. A huge thank you to John Jensen for bringing such depth, reflection, and energy to our conversation around impact players. Remember, being an impact player isn't about having the loudest voice or the biggest life title. It's about taking initiative, navigating ambiguity, and multiplying the success of those around you. John talked about that quite a bit. If this episode sparks something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Please share it with someone who's ready to lead with more intention and impact. And if you're looking for tools to grow your leadership or team, visit willownorth.com. Until next time, I am Endora Hinton, CEO of Willow North Growth Partners. And remember to stay curious, stay bold, and keep leading forward. We look forward to seeing you in the next season of What's in the News for Leaders. Thank you.